We got to go, y'all. But let me tell you like this. I've been redeemed. I've been to the water. And I've been baptized. So goodbye. And I feel all right. I've been redeemed. You tell me. Come on, put your hand together. Come on. Come on, clap your hands, y'all. Oh. Come down, mighty King. Help us thy name. Come down, mighty. Help us thy name. We come to praise. Get a witness here. We come to praise. Come on, soprano, soprano. Help us thy name. Come down, mighty. Help us thy name. Alto, come down, almighty. Help us thy name. Come down, almighty. Help us thy name. Come on, tenors, let me hear you say it. One more time, come down. Help us thy name. Everybody come down. Help us thy name to sing. Come down, almighty. Help us thy name to sing. We come to pray. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Father of glory, come on. Father of glory, power of victory, in the rain, in the rain. Father of glory, come and rain, come and rain. We come to pray. Put your hands together. We come to pray. Father of glory. Come and rain. Come and rain, yeah. Father of glory. Come and rain. Get a witness here. We come to pray. We come to pray. We come to pray. Thy name. Thy name. Thy name. Righteous is thy name. Thy name, thy name. Your name is wonderful. We come to lift you up. We come to lift you up. Your name is worthy to be praised. We come to bless your name.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Ask Elaine, where the Ask Elaine, Ask Elaine, where the Ask Elaine, Ask Elaine, where the Ask Elaine, Ask Elaine, where the Ask Elaine.
All right, we ready? All right. Good afternoon once again. This is your voice, Commissioner Elaine Lucas, welcoming you to Ask Elaine. And you might wonder why my nose is shiny and why I'm wiping sweat. It is hot, y'all. It is hot. I don't know whether it's hot where you are, but it is hot. And, I'm at that age where the heat really tells on me. You all are not laughing at me, but you feel it too. A lot of you feel it. Anyway, this is your special day. We have some stuff for you today that you just will love. First of all, let me welcome you all once again. We want to thank our sponsors, all of our sponsors. Thank you so much for believing in this program for almost 9 years now. And we appreciate you continuing to support. We want to say thank you to Senator David Lucas for helping to sponsor. We want to say hello to Glory Cakes, my sister Beverly. She's still in business, y'all. Those cakes are still popping, so call her. She can make anything you want. She specializes in wedding cakes, but she can make anything look just like you give her the picture of it. She can make it in whatever form you want. She's awesome. We've said Mayor Ellis, Sheriff Davis, and Black Voters Matter, which is our principal sponsor, Black Voters Matter. And at every one on each one of our shows, we're going to talk about Black Voters Matter and why you matter and why we're not discounting anybody else or eliminating or trying to keep anybody else from exercising their rights. But we want to talk to Black voters at all times and encourage you, because your votes there's an attempt to take your votes away from you. And so when somebody tries to take something away from me that's my right to have, that my forefathers bled and died for, then that brings out the fight in me. That brings out the Bellevue in me, and I'm going to fight you every step of the way. You should have that same attitude. I just found out that there are several hundred 100,000 people that just received their 30-day notice that if they don't do something about their voting status, they're going to be eliminated. They'll be in the inactive status. So like in November when we have the vote on OLOS, you want to be able to vote in that without a whole lot of stress and strain and drama. And then going into the next year's elections, you know you'll be even farther away from your right to vote. And then the next year is the presidential election, and you know what's happening there. The whole state, the state legislative delegation, the Republicans are trying to keep you from voting. And then they want to, after the results are in, they want to be able to come in and take that election and turn it around the way they want to. Now, I don't know about you, but my mama taught me, Ella Huckabee, taught me that stealing is wrong, and whoever does it is wrong, and I'm not going to let anybody steal my vote. You can sit up and let them steal yours, but I'm not going to be in my, as for me and my house, we're going to vote, and we're going to make sure. I want to thank the guys here, the owners of DDO, The Glory. I want to thank them because they remembered my birthday. I have this beautiful gift. I'm not going to tell you what it is because you will get jealous. And then when I see you, you'll be looking at me funny and everything. So I want us to remain friends. So I'm just going to thank them and express my appreciation. But a lot of people saw it, and it is wonderful. It is wonderful. And when I see you and I'm walking around with it, I'm not going to tell you because you're going to be jealous. You will be so jealous. By the way, I've already got the shoes that... Oh. Let me hush. I'm talking too much. We want to let you know that you are invited to a program on October the 2nd at the Douglas Theater at 7 p.m. The program is being done, it's called Frederick Douglass, the Play. And Mr. Don Druitt, Senior, who is our former emergency management director, he is a craftsman. He loves doing woodworking. He had an exhibit at the Tubman Museum last year, I believe it was, or the year before. He's a very talented man. He has been growing his hair, I think, for the last year because he looks just like Frederick Douglass, and he's going to do a presentation at the Douglas Theater on the 2nd at 7 p.m. I'm going to be there, and you need to be there too. You're seeing, if you're on Facebook Live, you're seeing a little bit of that trailer, that intro promo. And you see Mr. Druitt there with the hair and the whole outfit, and he portrays Frederick Douglass. It is a wonderful, wonderful presentation, and we look forward to being there, and we want to see you there. It needs to be a full house for something like this. This production is endorsed by the Martin Luther King Commission, by a number of other organizations, and we just think it is wonderful. We think it is wonderful. We have with us today none other than our district attorney, first Black female district attorney, the Honorable Anita Reynolds Howard. We've had her on the show before, and we just think highly of her. First of all, she won that election. She whipped butt. She got 70%. It
was, yeah.
Whew, I thought I beat folks up really badly, but I mean, you just.
The Lord did that. Faith without works. We put the work in, and the Lord sealed it.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, you whipped up on him good. We're gonna devote the remainder of the program to her, but I wanted to make sure that we got these things here. Mr. Druitt as Frederick Douglass at the Douglas Theater at 7 on Saturday, October 2nd. I wanted to mention about the voting. Are we on the air? We are? Okay. wanted to make sure everybody, because folks get upset when they don't get Ask Elaine. If you tuned in on 980 AM or 107.9 FM, Facebook Live, y'all please share if you're on there and let us know who you are. We've got a lot of information to share with you today, so we're not going to take any calls, but because we really want to hear all of the information that the district attorney, we are so fortunate, we are just so honored that she has chosen our program to let you know about some initiatives to announce. So for the first time, you, our honored listeners, are going to hear about all of these things that she has come up with in her office. These things have not been done before. And so we applaud her. We just think she's a wonderful person. And anybody that can be an establishment candidate with 70% of the votes, oh, my goodness. Now, I think I've got everything other than to thank everybody for my birthday greetings. Voter registration, you're not going to let folks take your vote. Oh, one other thing. The Mercer Strings, Bobby McDuffie, our own international performer, violinist from here in Macon. Mercer has set up in a historic building on College Street, a center. It's the Robert McDuffie Center for Strings. And by the way, those of you who are Black like me, and you think that classical music is not for you, the next time you're sitting listening to watching the cartoons and that music that comes on that has all of the strings and the piano and let's see, what's the you have Bugs Bunny and all of them that you watch, and you're into the whole action in the cartoons, and the music is classical music, y'all. Stop, turn the volume down, don't turn the volume down, but turn where you can't see the picture and listen to the music. That is classical music. Lone Ranger. Y'all forgive the voice. That's classical music. So get it out of your mind that there are certain only certain music that you can listen to. One of the most famous composers in history was a Black man. It was either Beethoven or Mozart. So Google it and find out which one was a Black man, okay, whether it was Beethoven or Mozart. But anything that's good, anything that's innovative, we have had a part in it. So just give yourself a chance to extend your culture, extend your learning. And there is a list of events that are being sponsored by the Mercer, the Center for Strings, and at a number of these, there will be Black folks performing. And oh yes, there are Black students in the Mercer Center for Strings who will be performing. There's one young man who will do rap, who will be rapping to, and the song is the most wonderful song you ever want to hear. And so I just hope that you will take part in this. I was trying to see if I could find the picture of the young man and tell you the name. Oh, it's called Don't You Look at Me. It's called Don't You Look at Me. And they conclude the season with the winner of the Townsend Concerto competition and the explosive Beethoven Symphony No. 2, written during the author's depression. Macon hip-hop artist Bob Lennon also takes the stage to perform his commission, Don't You Look at Me. And I've heard it, and it is wonderful. It is wonderful. So,
and I love classical music.
Oh yeah. In the weeks to come, we'll be talking more about this. And so those are the announcements. Other than, if you haven't had your vaccine, don't come around me, because I do not want to get anything from you, and I don't want to give you anything. So y'all, please, this is personal. You could give me something that would kill me. I could possibly give you something that would kill you. You can possibly give your children and grandchildren and your elderly something that will hospitalize them or kill them. So, just say that's where we are now. I'm tired of looking at services, funerals for people that I know.
And it's people, you see it all the time, even on social media. And it's people who are, leaving, loved ones, spouses, children behind in young ages.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. So I've gotten in all of the things that I wanted to share with you at the beginning of the program. And keep in mind, we will not take phone calls today, because the remainder of the show is going to be devoted to our district attorney, the Honorable Anita Reynolds Howard, who is going to share with you all of the initiatives and make some first-time announcements. Welcome to Ask Elaine.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Lucas. I'm so glad to be back. We have done a lot in 8 months, and we have tried through different means to get that information out to the community, and you can never do enough, especially in the times that we're in. As you mentioned, with the pandemic, we have to become more and more creative about how to get this information about services and court process and all those things. So I am very excited. So you let me know when you want to, what you want to talk about first. But I am very excited to launch an initiative that we've kind of been talking about, but it is launching today right here on the Ask Elaine show.
Us, yes. Go ahead.
Okay, so the initiative that we are announcing is DA 101, a moment with District Attorney Howard. And I'll tell you how this came about. So I believe and know that we are dealing with many pandemics. We are dealing with, obviously the pandemic of COVID-19. We're also dealing with the pandemic of, just not mistrust of our medical officials that are telling us, how to get this vaccine. We are dealing, as you mentioned, with all the new voting laws in 202. We're dealing with, the pandemic of, suppression of the vote, but we're also dealing in the criminal justice system with the pandemic of misinformation. And what I know that pandemics do two things. I believe they cause fear and they wreak havoc on our communities, and that is all pandemics. And so we are in a crisis in many arenas, but with a crisis there's always it presents an opportunity. And so that is what we're doing with DA 101, a moment with DA Howard. You can go to our website, makingjudicialsearch@da.com. My team has told me that those, the videos, the button there, you'll see, click here for DA 101. And these are going to be 60 to typically about 90-second, very, very quick moments with DA Howard, where we, talk about the criminal justice system and how it really works. Because sometimes the information that is given to our community is not accurate. And what we know is that communities of color and impoverished communities we are affected more by the criminal justice system, but oftentimes, we are not educated about the criminal justice system and how it works. And so the first thing that we're going to be talking about is bonds, because we know that has kind of been, a topic here recently in the media here. We've gotten several questions about, bonds and who sets those. And a lot of people don't know, and, it wasn't really emphasized that only judges can set bonds, and that, even if a person gets a bond, it does not mean that they're going to be released. Yeah. There are many people now who are sitting in the Bibb County Law Enforcement Center center with bonds, but not able to make those bonds. And even if they are released, those bonds have conditions. In our office, the district attorney's office, we recommend basically conditions to the judges, but at the end of the day, release is up to the judge and not the district attorney. So we're talking about those things and what does a grand jury do and all of those things. We're doing in very small, segments, 60, like I said, 60 to 90 seconds. So that those can be shared on Facebook.
I think those are wonderful. That is wonderful. Because a lot of people think, oh, we got a black female in there now.
Right.
I can go down there and I can get her to let my cousin out of...
well, and then, you get that from other people as well. Because my team, they've seen some of the comments that, if you see something where somebody was released, they're like, oh, well, they must have been related to the DA, and I'm thinking, well, remember,
that's the way it used to be.
It's
not that way anymore.
Right, because I took an oath to do my job, and that's the way I did it, to do my job without fear or favor, and that's to anyone. And if we, as district attorneys, feel that that there may even be a perception that we, cannot be fair and impartial, then we have a duty, to recuse or to conflict out of a case. Right. And so, but no, I have to do my job without fear or favor. So it doesn't matter if, I know someone that knows that person. And as you said, even, living here in Middle Georgia my entire life, and being active in the community, as well as just, all of the various folks that I met during the campaign with the over 70% of the vote. Yes, I know a lot of people. And, but, I tell people those relationships are for, accessibility, for me to explain what the process is. There's no favor because you know me. Instead of, if you know me, you have my number. The difference is I may explain the process to you instead of one of my ADAs.
That's right.
But the process is a process, right? It doesn't change because you know me. So we just feel like this is going to be good to get out into the community, and we ask everybody to go to the website, share those segments. Today, 2 should be released. First, DA 101, the introduction, and then second, the one about bonds will be released, and we will release those probably on a schedule of maybe every 2 weeks. We want to get those to the churches, because a lot of churches are still doing virtual services, and even the ones that are in person, they typically have some kind of technology piece. So, the Bible says that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. And so you cannot, when we say change the face of justice, that, not only to change it so there are equitable outcomes for all, but also this is the people's office, and to make sure that the people know what's going on in their office. Yes, I'm the people's DA, but it's the people's office, and making sure that they're aware of what's going on.
And people should be very, very proud that first of all, our young girls can look to this as an example of somewhere they can aspire to. And then you look also at the Vice President of the United States, that there are examples of people who have made it, and you can do this too. So you serve as a community inspiration to an awful lot of people. And so with that comes the negative side of it, where people are always after you. Now, the other week, I had so mad with somebody because she was sitting up and she had no business putting those comments out there. She was in a position. I put what I want to put on my Facebook page because, I can do that.
Right.
But if you're working in a close proximity to someone on possibly some cases or whatever, and then you have the nerve and the disrespect for that person to do that, you ought to be dealt with. But I didn't, because then I didn't want to go to jail and then have you lock me up and everything, and then not give me bond that I can't pay. But it does bother me that you are targeted. I have been targeted all of my 30-year political career. My husband, we were talking the other day about this story. We needed a refrigerator. And so we were going to get a used refrigerator. And the guy told us that it was in really, really good shape. And so I said, okay, well, we bought the refrigerator, and it was good. The only thing that saved us was that I asked for a receipt. We had a receipt that was signed. But you know what the newspaper headline was? Councilwoman Lucas buys stolen refrigerator. It turned out that the refrigerator, the guy had been going around, like a lot of the used furnishing stores now, and they get things, they fix them up, right, and they sell them. And we buy, like 3, 4, 5. Right. Exactly. And so when the police found out that the refrigerator, the guy had stolen the refrigerator from somewhere, an empty apartment or something, the story became Councilwoman Lucas buys stolen refrigerator. And somewhere way, way down in the news article, they put, oh, by the way, she did get a receipt for it, but that's the kind of thing you have to deal with when you're a black elected official, and when you're a woman, there's even more resentment because black women were the last ones to get the right to vote. That's right. And so they gave it to a whole lot of other groups, even black men, but then we were the last ones. So that's an example of the kind of stuff. But I don't like it when folks attack you and they have no reason to, but they don't have to have a reason. That's right. They are resentful, they're racist, and they have ulterior motives, and that's to keep the power. Same way these Republicans are doing in Washington. They're to shut the government down because they just want to beat the Democrats, no matter what good it does for all of these different people. So I just want to remind all of you that racism is not dead, that the attempts to go after black elected officials, it's still alive. We got some folks who are online with us today on Facebook Live. Maria Bryant with the NAACP made a correction. She said tickets can be purchased. This is for the NAACP Freedom Fund banquet, and y'all take part in a lot of things with the NAACP.
We do. We do. We're actually one of the sponsors, and actually I was honored that President Westbrook and Maria reached out for me to do the greeting. So, President Westbrook and I, we talk about a lot of the injustice that she's seen here in the Macon Judicial Circuit, and for years. And to your point, and I know I said and you were there, and I appreciate you coming at my swearing in, that you have to know who you are and whose you are.
That's right.
And I'm reminded that the Bible says that it didn't say the weapons wouldn't form, it said they wouldn't prosper.
Right.
And so some people say, well, how do you deal with all of that? And I just say, I have to stay grounded in that, but I have to keep my folks around me. Because my family now, I come from a line of people who, they don't want anybody. Yes, they'll fight us, and they're very protective. So I find myself having to calm them down. Like, y'all don't, don't.
Oh, goodness. My son, I've had to calm him many, many days. And that David Lucas walks around and people think he's the calm, cool, lady.
See, they do that about Todd. Until you mess with Todd, until you mess with me.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But, it's, you just, especially when you are, you experience that, like you said, the female, you are, the first black, first female, but, the first in anything. Like, let's just, yes, we did get over 70% of the vote, but there was close to 30% that did not want to see change. Yeah. And those are the folks that aren't going, not going anywhere. And those are it's just a small, small few that's keeping up the noise.
And we tend to dwell on the ones who didn't. But I tell people all the time, tell my students, dwell on the
That's right.
All of 70 is a whole lot more than 30, 20.
Right. And then even when I'm out, what tells the story for me is when I'm out in the community and people say, I had one lady say, I voted for you and I'm glad that I did. I had just this week, I spoke with a victim's family. People ask me what's some of the hardest, what's the hardest thing that you do as DA? Mm-hmm. And it's when folks have lost their loved ones and, we bring them in the office and sometimes we give them news that we know they don't want to hear. Like there's nothing that we can do because of the evidence. Because in cases, it's important. It's not what I think. It's not even what I know. It's what I can legally prove in a court of law that makes the difference. And I've had to have those conversations this month. And one of those families, she sent me a handwritten note that I got at the beginning of the week, just thanking me for taking the time and, explaining and showing them the video and comparing the law and that's what I'm talking about when I say, informing the community. Because it's one thing just to say, I make the decision. Right? But when people understand why you make the decision that you make, I think that's important. And that's the level of transparency and accountability that, I promise to deliver to this community.
Well, the Make and Beer NAACP Earl T. Shinholster Freedom Fund Banquet is going to be held October 16th, 2021. This will be a virtual program. There are tickets that are available, and the tickets include a meal from the Bear's Den, yum yum. It includes your meal, dessert, and drink. Make and Beer Freedom Fund Award Ceremony, 6 p.m. Senator David Lucas is the speaker. Do you know him?
I do know him. That's my friend.
Your husband, my friend. Oh, he's a good old speaker. But that is a bargain. You get a wonderful program. Oh, the district attorney, Howard, don't tell her, but she is receiving an award from the NAACP. And then a young man who is a Purple Heart recipient who received an honorary high school diploma at EL High School's last graduation in August. He is going to be recognized not only for receiving the Purple Heart, but for all of the other awards that he has received. And when he came to us, he said, all of these other things are important. They're good. But I've always wanted my high school diploma. And so it was our honor to award him. And he received a standing ovation at graduation.
That's awesome.
For being there as a Purple Heart recipient and all of the other things. He's part of a pictorial display that's at the Tubman Museum of Soldiers, older soldiers. He is just magnificent, but those are two that I know that will be receiving. And these folks over here at DDO, I think somebody told me maybe I should just hush and not say anymore because they don't look like they would. They are looking at me like, what are you talking about? Simone Blessingame gave us the answer to Beethoven. Beethoven was from the African who was the composer. We need to have a question, a trivia or something. Yeah.
Well, because if we don't, it's kind of like, the importance of us being in these positions. You're right. It's hard to be what you don't see. And oftentimes what I find is we have to teach ourselves our history.
That's right.
Because we've all heard of Beethoven before, because everybody has, but who knew that he was, African American?
Right.
That's not always highlighted.
Right. And we listen to that music all the time, and we don't know.
That's right.
But that's why you have to open your minds. You have to go to those things that you think you don't like. You got to go to hockey sometimes, and people fall in love with that hockey over there, the Making Mayhem. That's the name of it. But people fall in love with that. But then they say that's not a black person's sport. It's like back in Daddy's Little Girls, when there was the main character, Gabrielle Union, and the little girl said something about her, Julia. Said, ain't that a white girl name? I mean, but we think in terms of that kind of thing is not being for us, but anything that's on this earth that we help to pay for,
that's right,
we need to take advantage of. And that's Cherry Blossom, the Veterans Parade that's coming up. We got to talk about that too next week. The Veterans Parade, more people need to take advantage. Are you going to be in the Veterans?
We are going to be there, yes. We're planning. That's
just right around.
It's November 7th, I believe, because it's also my tie-dye 6th anniversary.
Oh.
So we were planning on being out of town, but we're going to be in the parade. And so that's our anniversary.
Yeah.
So,
oh, that's nice. You can get everything done.
That's right.
You can do a lot in a day.
That's right. I'll give it right. We've done a lot in 8 months.
Yes, you have. Now, I cut you off. You were telling us about the initiatives. You talked about the main thing that you announced today.
The DA 101.
I just think that is just wonderful and informative, and people are going to benefit from it because, as you say, if you don't know about stuff, you can't take advantage of it and have your rights preserved. What are some of the other kinds of things that your office is involved in that you're connected with?
Okay, so we've done a lot of things. Let's talk about the Bassinet Drive. Mm-hmm. And people say, well, why is the district attorney involved in that? I get that question sometimes. Well, the state law mandates that every time that there's a child death in each county, that death has to be reviewed by the Child Fatality Review Committee. The district attorney is not only by law a mandated member of that community, we actually have to chair that committee. Oh. And so, just hearing about all of the deaths that we have had as a result of co-sleeping, and those are just easily preventable deaths of our children.
A lot of people like to have that baby up in the bed.
That's right.
That's not what that little ducker needs to be in his or her own.
That's right. And so we've had an opportunity to launch this initiative on Changing the Face of Justice Day, which was June 9th. But we got a lot of interest from the community in our women's missionary, our Macon Women's Missionary with the AME Church. They have partnered with us. Mm-hmm. And I know you're AME. Y'all have done a phenomenal job. Yes. And Miss Bird. So they have done an awesome job of rallying all of the AME churches in the middle of Georgia to donate bassinets, to donate pack and plays. And we make a day. We kind of make a half day of it. Mm-hmm. We have a lunch and learn that we do where we have someone to come in and teach the expectant or new mothers CPR. Mm-hmm. We also talk about how many deaths we've had relating to that. So that has been very, very successful. I tell anybody, if you are offering hope in saving lives, I will partner with you. And so that's one of our initiatives. Then we have our Junior Justice League, which is our summer initiative we did with our middle school students. And we partner with 5 local organizations to provide opportunity to youth who have experienced trauma in our community as a result of crime. And I tell you, everything is full circle. And that meeting that I was talking about, where I got that note from that, from that family, what the mother of that victim, she said to me, because she was telling me that she also kept her grandkids. And I said, well, how old are they? And so one of them fit the criteria based on age. And I knew that some things she had told me would fit the criteria for our Junior Justice League. And she said, well, she already knows you because she's already a part of your Junior Justice League. In fact, she did your violence interrupter PSA. And she told me she even met you and talked to you. And it just shows you that, I believe that God will always provide confirmation. And so you put, if he gives you the vision, he's going to give you the provision. You just got to do it.
I believe our DA has turned into a little evangelist here. Y'all would come on in here and lay those hands.
Come on in the room. But that's the truth. And because some of the things, and I'm like, how are we going to do this? It always works out because, I believe that if your heart is right and your intent is good, and this is what, God told you to do, it's going to work out. I had a friend in a neighboring county who was considering running for DA. And she said, what do you think? Because she said she sees what you see. Mm-hmm. She sees the attack. She said, what do you think? I said, let me tell you. I said, you've got to consult your God, your husband, and your heart. Mm-hmm. And that's all that you can do. Yeah. And so when we're doing these initiatives, it is all coming together. And when that mom said that to me, I was able to share that with my team because my team works hard. Yeah. And I was able to share that with my team, and it was such a blessing. So when we do the Junior Justice League, it consists of about 20 kids. We started out with a Zoom orientation. Then from there we progressed into a day at the courthouse, and they had lunch with Sheriff Davis on the stage of the Grand, which that was quite the experience for them. Oh yeah. And they got opportunity to meet Judge Jeffrey Monroe, a Supreme Court judge, Judge Jeff Hanson. So they had a full day. Judge Brenda Yumas, as well as we went to the probate court, and then we culminated with a day with the Braves game in Atlanta because it was an honor. The Junior Justice League this year was for the youth to keep swinging through adversity or whatever they're going through. And so we went to the Braves game on Hank Aaron's Day where the Braves theme was Keep Swinging. And so the kids really, really enjoyed that. And so that was our Junior Justice League initiative. And then we have our RISE initiative, which I'm very excited about, is RISE, Restoring Inspiration by Success in Education. And so what's most exciting about this initiative is, not only, helping our youth that have experienced trauma, but it's the fact that we are launching it in all 3 counties. Mm-hmm. And it's not like, okay, we're going to do Bibb.
Well, remind people, though, that you do run from that your circuit includes 3. Tell them
that's right. It's Bibb, Crawford, and Peach counties. Mm-hmm. We are one office in 3 locations, and that has been, our, what we have stood by since day one office in 3 locations. Mm-hmm. Because what I did get, the information I got from Peach and Crawford is they always felt like, they didn't get the services or they didn't get the initiatives that Bibb got, and so we are launching it at the same time, and that goes into another issue. We are excited that we have just hired. We have just hired a community and youth engagement specialist for our Peach Crawford office, our Peach Crawford unit. And the wonderful thing is we were able to pay for that not with taxpayers' dollars, but with those forfeited funds that we talked about that a little bit last time.
Yeah, the money that you made the former DA bring back so
The judge,
you
yes.
could split it up.
Right, the judge, right. And so, briefly, there's about $5.4 million that we believe was not distributed properly, and the court agreed with us and brought everything that was unspent, brought that money back. And long story short, we were able to recover out of the 5.4. We were able to recover a little over $3 million. And that money is what we're using for the Junior Justice League. That money is what we're, using for this additional position for the Peach Crawford unit. So, so we don't have to use those taxpayer dollars. We're able to do some different things. So it's a blessing, as it should be, to our community, because our community, as we argue in court, did the work, and I don't know how you do the work, but you don't get the fruit from the work.
Yeah, they were trying to pull that trick. They were trying, but the judge said, "Wait,
that's right.
Hold on a second now.
That's right.
The law does not say it."
And some people said, "Are you sure you can do that? Because you're not the DA yet." I said, "Well, I don't know, but it's the right thing to do, and so I'm going to try."
Well, apparently the judge thought so. We've got some people. Dr. Mary Butler, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, yes.
Listeners, good to see and hear both of us. People are saying great initiatives and representation coming from and through the DA's office. And for those of you who are listening on 980 AM or 107.9 FM, or by some other means, we're sharing this information, but you can still go on and review and watch this entire show later on Facebook Live if you want to. Just go to The Glory, and you can pull it up, and you can see these two folks on here with all of this information. Let's see. Gwen Westbrook, the president of the NAACP, she says the NAACP will be doing voter registration and photocopies. We worked with them over at EL High School on making photocopies, because not only do you now have to show ID to vote, you have to show ID to request your absentee.
Right.
And we're going to get Janetta Watson, the supervisor of the Board of Elections, on here too. Hopefully we can work her in the next couple of weeks and get her on to talk about the impact, the negative impact of these new voter suppression laws. You just would not believe how much money it's going to cost you. And if the mayor and the other county officials are listening, which I know they are, they listen to Ask Elaine too. They love us. And but not only is it going to cost us an awful lot of money, but it's going to inconvenience a whole lot of people that you might not think it's going to inconvenience. So when you dig one ditch,
that's right.
You know.
Well, the other thing I wanted to say about that is that goes into something else that I'm doing. I was honored to be asked to be a part of Fair Fight, Leader Abrams' art organization. I was asked to be a inaugural member of her district attorney class. That was the first one she's ever done. They want to continue the efforts in other states, but obviously they wanted to start here in Georgia.
Yeah.
And so I'm a part of that class. And one thing that we've really been talking about is the fear, like we're talking about the misinformation while we have DA 101, the fear that has come with 202, because a lot of people, I've been in meetings, and I have to be honest, I've not read 202 front to back, but what I know is some of the things that people have said, they didn't quite sound right. And so I brought it up at our last DA session with Fair Fight, and they did some research and they looked it up to say no, and that's what they're trying to combat too, just the fear and the confusion of 202.
Right.
So
that's the idea.
That's the idea.
You make people fearful. You confuse them. You make it seem so difficult. And so a lot of people who aren't highly motivated, they just say, I'm not even gonna do it.
And so that's one thing that they want, us to do is just try to give people the proper information. So, I'm hopeful that, as we progress, that there will be some organizations, probably like Fair Fight or Black Voters Matter, to actually come out kind of with some quick information, like a little bookmark, or maybe they can do some little 60 to 90-second sessions, just so we can educate the community, because I think, even those meetings I've been in, people will say, well, this is what it's about. And when they're like, no, it has nothing to do with that. But it's that fear, like you said, and the fear is done, it is there so that we won't go vote. So people will give up. And we've got to encourage folks not to give up, because if people gave up, there would be no district attorney Anita Howard.
Yeah. Edith Newsom is on.
Good afternoon.
Pastor Lisa.
Good afternoon.
And let's see, of course we said Dr. Butler, and they're all very supportive. We know Gwen Westbrooks is on, and I can't wait for her to retire and to set up that consumer help kind of center,
right?
Because that's what the NAACP is doing so much of, and many of the programs that you've initiated will work so well, working in conjunction with what she has in mind, and that is being a one-stop shop for people who just need information, who need to know, how do I fill this out? How do I access this? We've got millions of dollars sitting in pots all over this country for people for rental assistance and utility assistance. And people are not taking advantage of it because they don't understand.
They don't understand.
So fearful.
They don't understand. They don't know. And, what I do know is, communication fills in the gap. Right. We as electeds have got to figure out a way. It's not enough for us to have this information. And that's why, every time you make availability for me to come on and talk directly to the people, I'm going to do it, because we've got to fill in the gaps. That's what we're put here to do. And I want to talk about something else that I'm doing. So I'm actually the chairperson for a new organization that has a statewide organization that was formed, the Urban District Attorneys Coalition. And so I'm the chairperson for that. It was basically formed with district attorneys, regardless of party affiliation throughout the state, who have counties that have populations over 140,000, who we're all dealing with the uptick in crime, coming together to figure out collectively, what are you doing that works? What are you doing that may work? And hopefully, coming together, sharing that information for the goal of public safety, making our community safe. And I want you to know that the RISE program has been a buzz, throughout the state. This community is excited about it. Every time I go out, so many people, they want information. And so we're going to have some pamphlets and flyers created. But I want everyone to know that people, the other DAs throughout the state are interested in RISE. I guess probably about 2 months ago, I went to the Prosecuting Attorneys Council. They asked me to come there to share about RISE with the juvenile prosecutors for the state of Georgia. So this is, we're doing some wonderful things in Middle Georgia.
And people are recognizing it, and it's just wonderful to know that other people see the benefit of what you're doing.
Right.
And your works will speak for you. They already are. And we're just happy to have you to be available to come on the program. And we're going to do this periodically now. So you just be ready because we do want to provide news and information on what's going on, what will benefit people, and we want to do it whenever we can. Monica Swain, Onward and Upward, D.A. Howard, awesome.
Monica's going to be one of our partners with the RISE program.
Yes,
Monica, I'm so glad, that she is interested in RISE, and so she'll be one of our partners, is able to provide the individual and the family counseling, to our youth and their families. So
yeah.
Monica inspires me. I see her Facebook posts.
I see her.
I know. She always knows how to encourage and inspire.
Always. And that is just great. I'm glad. And she was telling me one time about how she was having difficulty getting her services, to provide her services to different groups. And I think there's some people who are in place now.
That's right.
Who can help with getting the right information, the mental health activities that are going on in the community that Mayor Miller and some of the folks that he's
Miss Gloria Cisse, and Andrea Cook, they're going to be partners with us. They're doing a wonderful job. And that's why it's important. It's important, yes, to be the first and to get, to have a seat at the table. But it's also important to make sure that those folks who have not had the opportunities in the past,
that's right,
to serve the community, are also given those opportunities. Because, what I've seen is it was just a few that got the opportunity.
That's exactly right.
And we want to make sure that opportunities are given to the folks in our community, that, to everyone in our community, for the better good.
That is absolutely right. I'm sorry if I missed out on something. Oh, Ricky, hello. Yeah, the twin, the Ricky. Yeah, Ricky is the one. They were both at Brown and Williams.
Right, yes.
And I'm trying to see which distinguishes them. They're both actively involved. They used to lobby at the Capitol.
And I think they're members at
what is that? What is that church?
I know Renee's gonna get us. New Fellowship.
I said that was hers, but forgot the name. I remember.
We both gonna get a call.
I'm just waiting for you. We both fellowship. Yeah, they're very actively involved and they're so supportive of Dr. Bumper and First Lady Renee. And for those of you who don't know, we're going to start having some of our ministers on to be talking about some of the programs that they're going to start back up with this millions of dollars that we're getting into this community through the CARES Act and also through the Rescue Fund, and how they're going to help once they're back into their facilities, how they're going to use that money to help the community. And we have $100 million for
and I'm very excited about some of the things that I've been seeing. We are, I serve with the Making Violence Prevention Program. I'm excited. I see they're telling us we always run out of time. But I'm excited about the efforts with the mall.
I was going to ask you what you thought about that. I think it would be great. Can't you see all your kids graduating from some of the special programs?
Yes.
The police doing the CHIPS graduate, all of that.
I think it's wonderful. I remember growing up in Warner Robins, Macon was the place to come to. My mother and I, since a small child, we would go to the Macon Mall, and it was a family activity with my aunts, and we would eat there, the Ruby Tuesdays or the Piccadilly. And then even when I started dating, which don't tell my husband, when I started we would go to the Macon Mall sometimes. And so when I heard that announcement, I thought that was awesome because it offered, I have memories of just, fond memories of hope and just positivity, and I'm just encouraged.
There's just so many wonderful places.
So I'm encouraged.
The amphitheater up near Atlanta had a show, had Patty LaBelle,
saw that.
and who was
It was Patty and was it Gladys Knight?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was wonderful.
When I saw that, I thought, Harold Young is good at getting those. And I thought, well, with this new interview, we might be having Patty and Macon. Anita will be there.
By the way, the last thing, I know we got to go, but Harold and the Tubman are bringing Smokey Robinson here for all that jazz.
Okay, wonderful.
Jazz in January, so it's going to be wonderful. I think our time. Thank you so much, y'all.
I tried to get in more initiatives this time, so I did talk at least about 4 this time.
You did. But look, we're going to have you here again, and you can put it, just let me know when you're ready, and we can have you back on because you always bring wonderful information. So we want to thank all of you for being there, those on AM, those on FM, and those on Facebook Live. We'll see you again next Wednesday, 3 p.m. for another edition of Ask Elaine.
All right, thank y'all. Bye-bye.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.